He's been referred as Akron's most dangerous felon.
The craziest thing about this case is that the defendant uploaded all of the evidence prosecutors needed to convict him straight to his social media pages.
Ohio crime stories.
Exiled? How does a person get ordered to leave Ohio by a federal judge? It's something you hear on CNN, associated with a coup or an ousted dictator. Stick around, and you will find out what led to Joe King Fletcher being kicked out of Ohio by a federal judge. But before we get to that, let's rewind the story inside a parked car on an Akron, Ohio street. A man is sitting in his car, just passing the time. It's an ordinary, quiet evening. The kind of quiet where you can hear the distant hum of the highway and the wind rustling through the overgrown trees. But on these streets, peace is a fragile thing. Without warning, the quiet shatters and shots ring out. No words are exchanged. No demands are made. Just the cold, unmistakable echoes of gunfire. Welcome to Ohio Crime Stories. Before we dive deep into the twisted cycle of violence, clout, and an unbelievable self-sabotage that shocked the federal justice system, do me a quick favor. Drop your area code in the comments right now to feed the algorithm and let us know who is watching. This is in no way, shape, or form created to glorify violence or criminal activity. Condolences to the families of any victims mentioned in this video. Today, we are unpacking the tragic, chaotic, and ultimately self-inflicted downfall of Joe Louis Fletcher III. But to the streets of Akron and to the federal prosecutors who spent years tracking him, he went by just one name, King Fletch. To understand the violence that erupted on that Akron street, we have to look at the concrete that raised the man who claimed it. King Fletch wasn't just a rapper with a big reputation. He was a product of South Central Akron. Specifically, he claimed ownership over the 700 block of Allen Street. Now, if you're from Akron, you already know. This is a gritty, high-poverty pocket where the soundtrack to your childhood is the relentless wail of police sirens cutting through the night. You walk on sidewalks cracked by decades of neglect. The air carries a heavy, unmistakable blend of car exhaust, industrial residue, and cheap weed. And for a young Joe Fletcher, survival wasn't a choice. It was a daily battle. Let's be entirely real here. Looking at the court documents, Fletch almost never stood a chance. The system failed him before he even knew what the system was. As a toddler and a young boy, he suffered severe, unimaginable physical and emotional abuse. By the tender age of 7, a time when most kids are learning to ride a bike or playing video games, Joe was already using illegal drugs to numb the trauma. By age 11, he traded his school books for street corners. He was out on those same cracked sidewalks, selling narcotics. He didn't choose the streets. The streets swallowed him whole. But as the years went on, the traumatized kid transformed into a ruthless street persona. By 2005, his adult rap sheet began. And by 2010, the violence reached a boiling point. Let's go back to that fateful night. The Akron man lost his life while sitting in that parked car.
Ohio crime.
That man was LaDante Smith. The community knew who did it. The streets knew who did it. But the legal system operates on evidence, not rumors. Enter Anthony Smart, known widely in Akron as Champy. In 2011, Champy did what many in the street life do to avoid a guaranteed life sentence. He took a plea deal for the shooting of LaDante Smith. The case was closed. The state was satisfied. King Fletch had beaten the ultimate charge. Allegedly, he was a free man walking the earth while another man took the fall. It was the perfect getaway until the internet changed the rules of the game.
Ohio crime story.
Fast forward to 2018. Fletch is locked up, but not for the murder. He's sitting inside a grim concrete cell down in a federal prison in Atlanta, Georgia. For most high-level street figures, prison is a time to lay low, keep your mouth shut, and do your time. But Fletch was infected by the modern street disease, the desperate need for clout. Somehow, he managed to smuggle a smartphone into that federal facility. And instead of using it to call his family, he did the unthinkable. He hit the Go Live button on Facebook. For 49 uninterrupted minutes, King Fletch broadcasted directly to the world from inside a federal cage. He painted himself as a motivational speaker for gangsters. He leaned into the camera, basking in the view account, bragging to the internet that he ran the entire city of Akron from hundreds of miles away. And then, fueled by pride and ego, he did the unforgivable.
And he took to Facebook Live from inside this Atlanta prison.
What happened? The streets are the streets, though.
Declaring himself the king, taking credit for a murder.
Everybody know I did it. I did it.
He started talking about the 2010 murder of LaDonte Smith. Think about the sheer insanity of this. A murder that had been legally buried for 7 years. A murder someone else took the blame for. Fletch looked right into the camera, pointed his fingers like a gun, and explicitly bragged that Champy had saved him from a life sentence. Fletch flat out told his viewers that he did it, and that he was the person who pulled the trigger. He laughed at the camera, mocking his rivals, telling them they wouldn't do a damn thing about it. All for likes, all for comments, all for the fleeting validation of an online audience. The pride trap had sprung shut. If the feds needed a roadmap to build a case, Fletch gave them a GPS coordinate. By 2020, Fletch is released from prison and lands right back on the asphalt of Akron. He's on strict federal probation. He's being watched. Does he lay low? Does he try to reform? Absolutely not. Instead, his social media activity goes completely off the rails. He begins uploading high-definition rap videos, flaunting heavy military-grade firearms, drums, extended clips, tactical rifles, everything a convicted felon on probation shouldn't be within a mile of. The bravado turned into outright warfare against law enforcement. In one chilling video, he looked into the lens and openly threatened to shoot Akron police officers. In another mind-boggling display, he literally filmed himself standing at an active police crime scene, yelling at the gathered crowd, inciting them to open fire on the responding cop.
It shows Fletcher sitting in a car watching a group of Akron police officers. He threatened to shoot them and then turned the camera to his glops.
Days later, he's back on live, clutching weapons in both hands, telling his followers he was going to rob everything in sight until his unemployment check hit. The red flags weren't just waving, they were screaming. The state and federal task forces had seen enough. They attempted to pull him over, but Fletch chose violence and speed. He engaged the police in two separate, terrifying high-speed chases through dense residential Akron neighborhoods. Picture this. Fletch is tearing down narrow side streets, flying past family homes at an astonishing 115 miles per hour. And true to his addiction to the digital screen, during one of these dead-end chases, he was steering the vehicle at triple-digit speeds with one hand.
Court records say Fletcher led authorities on two high-speed chases in 2020, exceeding speeds of 115 miles per hour. One of those chases was live-streamed,
while using the other hand to live stream the flashing blue lights chasing him down. It is easy to look at Joe Fletch as a cartoon villain, a monster created by the internet and street violence. But under the heavy bravado, he was still a human being. And more importantly, he was a father. Fletch had a 9-year-old daughter whom he deeply, genuinely loved. His defense attorneys would later argue in a federal courtroom that the terrifying King Fletch persona was nothing more than a psychological mask. It was an armor built to protect the severely traumatized, abused 7-year-old boy hiding deep inside. But just when you think this story couldn't get more tragic, 2021 arrived. While Fletch was locked up awaiting trial for his weapons violations, tragedy struck. His innocent 9-year-old daughter passed away from a tragic accident. It was a devastating blow that broke the hardened street exterior. In a rare move of compassion, a federal judge felt genuine pity for the grieving father. The judge granted Fletch a temporary furlough, a few hours of freedom to step out of jail, attend his little girl's funeral, and say his final goodbyes. He was strictly ordered to report back to the facility by 7 p.m. that exact evening. 7 p.m. came and went. The cell remained empty. Joe had gone on the run, and true to form, he couldn't keep it off the internet. As the U.S. Marshals launched a massive regional manhunt, Fletch found a news article detailing his escape, shared it to his profile, and arrogantly captioned it, "King Fletch, a threat to the country." But the internet doesn't protect you when the tactical gear arrives. The U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force tracked the digital breadcrumbs right back to where it all started, the 700 block of Allen Street. They breached a house and found Fletch hiding like a trapped animal in a dark basement. When they cuffed him, he wasn't just a runaway. He was carrying 38 grams of crack cocaine. Desperate to avoid the inevitable, Fletch tried one last frantic play from behind bars. He allegedly attempted to orchestrate a $10,000 bribe to pay off a witness to lie on the stand. But the house of cards was completely out of time. In 2024, Joe Louis Fletcher III stood before a stone-faced federal judge. The prosecution played the videos. They played the 49-minute prison confession. They showed the high-speed live streams. The judge looked down at him, completely stunned by the sheer volume of self-incriminating evidence.
These videos and photos from 37-year-old Joe Fletcher III's social media pages were the smoking gun in a federal case against the convicted Akron felon.
I'm scared. You ran from a car. That was, dude. I'm just a rapper.
And said words that should ring out to every young kid thinking the streets love them. You brought this entirely on yourself. The sentence? 14 years in a maximum security federal prison. Fletch wanted to be remembered as the most dangerous.
I hope that motherfucker ain't looking for me. God damn.
Untouchable man in Akron. He chased the clout. He chased the digital crown. And he got his wish. But it cost him. It cost him his youth. And it ultimately cost him his freedom. The streets don't have a retirement plan. They just eat their own. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay tuned. Next week, we are pulling back the curtain on the most dangerous active crews operating right now in the OH. Stay safe out there, Ohio. We'll see you on the next one.